So it looks like Biden is going a bit Trumpian and proposed a immigration bill that uh, bans migrants seeking asylum from seeking asylum in the United States if they haven't already sought asylum in the state or the nation that they traveled through on the way to the United States. And now, uh, some migrant right groups are threatening to sue the Biden administration over their policies.
Immigration advocates are threatening to sue the Biden administration over a potential plan that could block migrants from entering the country. Under this new rule, migrants would be ineligible from seeking asylum in the U.S. unless they first try to claim asylum in another country that they pass through on the way to the southern border, like Mexico. That's according to exclusive new reporting from NBC's Julia Ainsley. And Julia joins us now with more. Good to have you with us. So walk us through this new proposed rule and what it would mean for millions of people looking to come to the country, especially those entering through the southern border.
Well, this is widely expected to be announced in the coming weeks. I'm hearing weeks, not months, Joe. And this would be what they call a notice for proposed rulemaking. And basically, that's the federal government's way of saying we want to go forward with this rule, allowing for a comment period. But really, it's something that they can put forward only to be challenged by courts. They don't need Congress to do this. And what it would do is exactly like you said, make migrants ineligible for asylum if they did not first try to claim asylum in another country. Now, it does make some exceptions for people who might have a fear of being tortured, for example, but that's a higher bar migrants will have to meet. And the way the government...
Man, it's just kind of messed up how Biden and other Democrats pretend to be about immigration and the such, and then they do stuff like this. Like what? Kamala Harris went to the southern border and told people that there wasn't room for people to enter into the United States, but we got plenty of room for more people. And these people seeking asylum are seeking it because they fear harm in their own nation and they're looking for a better place. And what? The United States is like, oh, no, you can't do it here. You gotta do it somewhere else. We honestly just need to open our borders to anybody and everybody that wants to come in looking for help.
Wants to do this is to make migrants do a very quick interview in Border Patrol custody so that if they don't qualify, they're quickly expelled or deported back to Mexico. Now, some of those details are still being worked out with the Mexican government, but what we do understand is that legal groups, immigration rights activists and legal advocates are already preparing a lawsuit to challenge this policy because they say it's exactly like a policy created under the Trump administration by his immigration hardliner advisor, Stephen Miller. And it's one that they challenged then and one that they plan to challenge again now. It really shows how the...
Wow. Wow, so Biden looked at a Nazi's immigration plan and was like, yep, I'm gonna follow this dude. Wow, Stephen Miller, a literal Nazi. What is Biden thinking? What is the Biden administration thinking doing something like this? To me, well, it just proves once again, honestly, how racist Biden is, in my opinion. You can't claim to not be racist and then look at a plan created by a racist and be like, yep, we're gonna do the same thing. Okay, maybe he didn't even look at Biden or Miller's plan, but he knew about the kind of policy that Trump tried to propose, and why would he want to still follow that?
This administration has become a little harder on immigration than what a lot of these groups expected from President Biden and what he campaigned on when he said he wanted to go back to a safe, orderly, and humane immigration policy. But
yeah, well, Biden is a corporate Democrat and Biden is racist, so Biden will lie in order to gain power that he needs and then go against all of his promises. Honestly, don't expect too much from Biden or any type of Democrat that is like Biden.
in part, they're being driven by the numbers. We've seen record numbers of migrants crossing the border, and Secretary Mayorkas says that they want to open up more legal pathways. They've opened up some already, but our reporting shows they don't expect to be opening up any more pathways, particularly for Central Americans, anytime soon.
So, Julia, I mean, the fact that critics
Particularly for Central Americans. Why specifically that group of people?
are comparing Biden policies with Trump-era policies. I mean, you're the expert here. Is it accurate to make those comparisons? Are the policies similar?
Well, it is hard to see the policy in a vacuum. It's true that the Trump administration did not try to open up more pathways for people like we're seeing right now from Cuba, Haiti, Venezuela, Nicaragua, where those people can apply from their home countries, and they'll let in 30,000 collectively from those four per month. That didn't exist under the Trump administration. But if you look at this policy on its own, it really does look a lot like what happened then. And I've spoken to some former Biden administration officials who say when they weighed these options earlier in the administration, they said, no way, it's not legal, we won't go there. So it does show that they have slid down that scale, at least in part. And it also shows where we are in this country on this issue, because right now, while these groups are threatening to sue for them being too hard on migrants, we also have Republican-led states suing the administration for being too lenient. There's really very few policies they can put forward now, Joe, that they won't wind up in court over.
And Julia, very quickly, I know you spoke to representatives with some of these groups that are planning to sue. Looking at recent rulings, I mean, do they think they'd win in court?
It all depends on the circuit. And you could maybe see it is very hard to get through the Fifth Circuit in Texas, but the Ninth Circuit in California could be much more lenient. In fact, it was the Ninth Circuit who, under the Trump administration, said that this was an unlawful policy. But it all is kind of up in the air when it comes to the Supreme Court. You know, we've seen the court go more conservative recently, so it may be that they find that the advocates in this case don't have a case. But right now, we will see a lot more about their thinking when they do, in fact, take oral arguments on March 1st and then maybe make a ruling later on Title 42, those COVID-19 restrictions that Republicans want to keep in place at the border. So we're watching that to see where this court stands on immigration.
All right, Julia, thank you so much.